What's up guys, today's video I am gonna do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best LG phones under 500 2021. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use to for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. LG for nailing the overall build quality and finish of the V40 THINQ. This phone looks and feels a lot more premium than the G7 Plus THINQ in our opinion, which is a good start. We also love the matte finish of the metal frame, and the glass back which doesn't attract fingerprints easily. The phone looks more or less pristine even at the end of a workday. The front and back glass taper slightly towards the sides, blending seamlessly with the frame so you don't ever feel the edges. The exposed antenna lines on the top and bottom are a different shade of gray so they don't blend with the rest of the metal frame, but at least they're placed symmetrically. As slick as the V40 THINQ looks, it's also equally slippery. The smooth finish barely offers any grip, which makes one-handed use a little scary at times. We had the phone slip from our hands multiple times during our test period, but luckily it only fell short distances onto tables or couches. Our unit did not get damaged, but we were lucky. The large display on the LG V40 THINQ does makes it a little hard to reach the physical buttons on both sides of the phone with one hand. Button feedback is good and we even have an extra Google Assistant button on the left, which can be used to wake the assistant when the display is on or off. The button isn't customizable. The hybrid dual SIM tray sits on the right of the phone, and can accommodate either two 4G nano SIM cards for dual 4G VO LTE or a single SIM and a microSD card. The LG V40 THINQ is one of the few flagships that still offer a 3.5mm headphone socket, which is placed at the bottom. Beside it, we have a USB Type-C port and a speaker. The latter uses a part of the body as a resonance chamber to amplify sound, which LG calls boombox speaker. Since it uses the body to amplify sound, you get a slight stereo effect, but the earpiece doesn't really contribute much in blocking it, makes no discernible difference to the audio. The 6.4-inch QHD Plus display dominates the front of this phone, but doesn't feel too immersive due to the relatively thick black bezels on the sides. There isn't much of a chin at the bottom, which is good, but you get a notch on the top. LG has managed to squeeze two cameras and an earpiece into the notch without making it too wide or deep. The earpiece sits a little off-center, but we didn't find that to be an issue with calls. The LG Velvet has a bigger primary screen than the LG G8X THINQ. It measures 6.8 inches and has a taller 20.5:9 aspect ratio, which makes the LG Velvet tall but narrow. As a result, holding this smartphone isn't a problem, but reaching the top of the display definitely is. The Velvet is relatively thin, measuring 7.9mm in thickness, and light, tipping the scales at 180 grams. Its display curves around the sides, reminding me of some Samsung Galaxy S series smartphones. The back is curved at the edges as well. The frame of the device is made of metal and is thin on the sides. The LG Velvet does feel premium, overall. The LG Velvet has a big 6.8-inch OLED display with a resolution of 2460 by 1080 pixels. The dual screen accessory also has the same display specifications, including a notch with no camera. Both panels have 60 Hz refresh rates, while the competition now offers 90 Hz and 120 Hz panels. Powering the Velvet is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 SoC, which is a little surprising now, considering that it's dated and will not perform as well as current-day chips. The LG G8X THINQ had the more powerful Snapdragon 855 SoC. The LG G8X THINQ follows the same design language as its predecessors. This smartphone has a glass sandwich design with a metal frame between the display and the rear glass panel. This smartphone is tall and a little chubby. At the front, it has a 6.4-inch OLED full vision display with a tiny water drop notch at the top. It has thin bezels on the sides, but the bottom is comparatively thicker. LG has positioned the power button on the right of the device, and it is convenient to reach. On the left side, you'll find the volume buttons as well as a dedicated button for Google Assistant. If you use Google Assistant very frequently, you will find this very handy. We looked around in the settings app but couldn't find a way to remap the button. The LG G8X THINQ sport a 3.5mm headphone jack at the bottom along with the primary microphone, the loudspeaker, and a USB Type-C port. At the top, there's only the SIM tray. The LG G8X ThinQ is among the few smartphones to have flush-mounted rear cameras. In a time when most devices have protruding camera modules, LG has managed to give this phone a clean look. The back is made out of glass but is curved at the sides, which makes it comfortable to hold. However, the smartphone picks up smudges easily and is super slippery. We even noticed it sliding about when placed on a slanting surface. LG ships this smartphone only in Aurora Black. Along with the dual screen accessory case, you get earphones and a 16 watts charger bundled in the box. LG has also included a magnetic connector which can be used to charge the smartphone while using the dual screen case. LG has smartly bundled the dual screen accessory with the G8X ThinQ. This case itself has two displays. The LG Wing has a unique design and there is nothing that looks like it in the Indian smartphone market. That is a big achievement, especially considering that it's really hard to distinguish between smartphones these days. The LG Wing is tall and narrow, with super slim bezels all around the primary display, which makes it look like it's bursting at the seams. The phone is noticeably thicker than usual at 10.9mm, since there is some gap between the two halves so that the rotating display can move freely. LG has placed a secondary 3.9-inch display beneath the primary one, and it's only powered on when you rotate the primary display open. The phone tips the scales at 260 grams, which can definitely be felt when you are holding it. If you like sleek and light smartphones, this one won't be up your alley. The LG Wing has an in-display fingerprint scanner on the primary display which is well positioned and easy to reach when the upper half is in its default position. All the buttons on the LG Wing are on the right side and are not exactly within reach. I had to stretch a bit to reach the volume buttons. The buttons are also somewhat hard to reach when the primary display is in T mode, as LG calls the open position. You get a big 6.8-inch 20.5:9 OLED display with a full HD Plus resolution at the top, and a smaller 3.9-inch display underneath. The LG Wing is powered by the 5G-ready Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor, with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. You do have the option to expand storage by up to 2TB thanks to the hybrid dual SIM slot, but you will need to choose between a second SIM and more storage. In terms of connectivity, the LG Wing offers Bluetooth 5.1 and dual-band Wi-Fi AC. There's a 4000 mAh battery and support for Quick Charge 4.0+, but you will need to buy a compatible charger separately if you want to use that to its full potential, since the supplied 16.2 watts unit isn't particularly fast. In terms of software, you get Android 10 with LG's customizations on top. My unit was running the December Android security patch, which is recent. I found the UI to be identical to that of the LG Velvet, and you shouldn't have any issues finding what you need. Swipe-based gesture navigation is enabled by default, but you can switch to navigation buttons. You have lots of options to tweak the display, including preset color modes. LG does pre-install a few apps and games on the LG Wing, including Facebook, Instagram, Asphalt 9, Whale Browser, Sniper Fury, Dungeon Hunter 5, Modern Combat 5, and a few Google apps. The LG V60 is a confident step beyond the conservative black rectangle designs of its predecessors and into more stylish territory. By itself, the phone has looks we'd expect on a Samsung flagship, including a pearl hue glass back, goldish trim around the camera bump, and burnished aluminum sides. It's not quite surpassing other top-tier phones in looks, with thicker bezels than you'll see in the Samsung Galaxy S20 line, and a teardrop notch where those phones have a small punch hole for the front-facing camera, but the phone certainly looks more impressive than previous LG flagships. It's still a bit thicker than other phones. Its 8.8mm thickness is a bit more than the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus 7.8mm, but the glass back curves gradually into the sides, giving more grip than phones with more abrupt rear-to-side curvature. The phone loads most of its buttons on the left side, including volume up and down buttons and a Google Assistant button, with the lock button on the right side. The SIM and microSD slot is at the top, while a USB-C slot sits in the center of the bottom, flanked by a speaker and, yes, a 3.5mm headphone jack. The LG V60 standout feature is the dual screen, which functions much like the identically named peripherals that come with the LG V50 ThinQ and LG G8X ThinQ. The dual screen works like a firm folio case, opening up to reveal a second display with the exact same dimensions as the V60 screen. Plug the phone into the dual screen's USB-C plug and snap it into place, and voila, you have twice the screen real estate. To turn on the dual screens display, you tap the small white dual arrow icon. By default this is on the right side of the display. To expand a small menu with options to swap screens or to put the main screen to sleep, if, say, you wanted to watch media on the second display and dim the first to save battery. Doing the above might be useful since, as it's an unpowered peripheral, the dual screen runs off the LG V60's battery, and predictably, using it drains the battery, even more so if you're running a demanding task like watching media. This can be mitigated in the usual ways, by dimming the brightness of either display. The dual screen will automatically turn off when the battery drops to 10% so that you don't fully deplete your phone,